right, so get ready for a deep dive
Oh, yeah.
into the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2025.
Oh, right.
We've got a bunch of articles and stats and some hot takes that we're going to sift through.
Okay.
You ready to see who made the cut
Yes.
and who got left on the sidelines?
Absolutely.
First up, the big news. Everyone's talking about Eli Manning.
Right.
2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that's a guaranteed ticket to Canton, right?
You would think so, but the Hall of Fame voters didn't see it that way this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Eli didn't get that first ballot induction.
Oh.
And, you know, it sparked a lot of discussion about what it really takes
Yeah.
to be considered a Hall of Famer.
I was surprised, too. I mean, those Super Bowl wins over the Patriots were
Yeah.
epic.
They were.
The helmet catch, instant classic.
Absolutely.
But I guess when you look beyond those highlights...
Yeah, you know, the Hall of Fame isn't just about a couple of great games.
Right.
It's about sustained excellence over an entire career. And while Eli had those moments of brilliance, some argue that his overall body of work doesn't quite measure up to some other quarterbacks that are already enshrined in Canton.
So it's more than just those Super Bowl rings.
Right.
What are some of the factors that are kind of working against Eli in this whole debate?
Well, his regular season record sits at a perfectly even 117-117.
Oh, wow.
And he never received a single MVP vote during his career.
Really?
Yeah, one article even went so far as to compare him unfavorably to Bernie Kosar.
Oh, well.
Which might seem harsh.
Yeah.
But it does highlight the question of, you know, were those Super Bowl wins more about Eli's individual brilliance or the team's overall performance?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It makes you think about, you know, the
Yeah.
role of a quarterback within a team's success.
Right.
Is it the defining factor or is it just one piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, it's a complex question
Yeah.
and one that Hall of Fame voters grapple with constantly.
Yeah.
And while Eli's chances of eventually making it in aren't completely gone.
Right. This year's snub definitely throws a wrench into the equation.
Okay, so we've dissected the Eli Manning situation.
Right.
But let's move on to another intriguing contender.
Okay.
And this one's generating a lot less controversy.
Right.
Antonio Gates, the tight end.
Yes.
Now, some of you might be thinking, hold on, what exactly does a tight end do?
Right.
Well, think of them as a hybrid player,
Okay.
part blocker, part receiver.
Uh-huh.
They need to be strong enough to protect the quarterback,
Yes.
but also agile enough to catch passes downfield.
Absolutely.
And Antonio Gates
I was gonna
was
think
the
of that.
embodiment of that hybrid role.
He really was. He redefined what it meant to be a tight end.
Wow.
To me, he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer.
Really? What makes you so confident about that?
Well, you just look at his impact on the game.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
Okay.
116 touchdowns in his career.
Wow.
That's more than double the number
wow.
of another legendary tight end, Ozzie Newsome,
Right.
who's already in the Hall.
Okay.
But it's not just about the numbers. You know, you've got me intrigued. What else sets Gates apart?
Long before he was catching touchdowns in the NFL,
Okay.
I actually watched Antonio Gates play college basketball
Oh, really?
at Kent State University.
Wow.
He was this dominant rebounder, unbelievable athleticism.
Yeah.
And then when he transitioned to football,
Yeah.
it was like watching that same athleticism explode on the field.
Right.
He was a matchup nightmare for defenders.
Yeah.
Too big for defensive backs to cover, too fast for linebackers to keep up with.
Right.
He changed the way defenses had to approach the game.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just great. He was actually influential.
He was.
That's the mark of a true Hall of Famer, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Right.
He brought this new level of athleticism to the tight end position.
Right.
And paved the way for the kind of versatile tight ends that we see dominating the game today.
Yeah.
He wasn't just playing the game.
Right.
He was changing it.
Wow. Okay, so we've got a controversial quarterback snub.
And a seemingly surefire tight end induction.
Right.
What other surprises does this class have in store for us?
Well, let's dive into a position that's always overflowing with talent.
Okay.
Wide receiver.
All right.
And this year, we've got a trio of contenders.
Yeah.
Whose careers are so closely intertwined, it's almost eerie.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Torrey Holt, Steve Smith, and Reggie Wayne.
Yes.
A statistical three-headed monster.
They are.
One article even called them clone guys.
Yeah.
Because their stats are so remarkably similar.
Yeah, and it's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they all racked up over 13,000 career receiving yards.
Wow.
Boast impressive yards per catch averages, and each snagged over 70 touchdowns.
Wow.
Trying to separate them.
Yeah.
For Hall of Fame consideration is a real head-scratcher.
So how do you even begin to unpack this logjam of talent? Where do we even start?
Well, let's break down the numbers a bit.
Okay.
Torrey Holt edges out the others in yards per catch.
Yeah. Showing his ability to make big plays downfield. Steve Smith, on the other hand, holds a slight lead in total touchdowns, showcasing his knack for finding the end zone. But then there's Reggie Wayne.
Ah, yes, Reggie Wayne. The guy who played the majority of his career with Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Right.
It makes you wonder, does playing with a superstar quarterback inflate a receiver's stats?
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
Does it diminish their accomplishments, or does it simply highlight their ability to thrive alongside another elite player? It's a chicken and egg scenario.
Yeah.
Did Peyton make Reggie great, or did Reggie help Peyton become even better?
That's a good question.
It's something for you, the listener, to ponder as we continue to explore these Hall of Fame hopefuls.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in individual stats.
Yeah.
But football is a team sport, and sometimes those individual achievements are intertwined in fascinating ways.
Absolutely. And in the case of these three receivers, this is going to be a tough call for the Hall of Fame voters.
Right.
Their stats are remarkably similar.
Yeah.
So it might come down to those less tangible factors, leadership impact on the game, and those unforgettable moments that transcend the numbers.
It's almost like trying to choose between apples, oranges, and, I don't know, some other delicious fruit.
Right.
They're all fantastic in their own right.
Yeah.
But which one deserves the top spot in the Fruit Bowl of Fame?
Right. We'll have to wait and see what the voters decide.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's shift our focus to two players who wreaked havoc on opposing offenses.
Okay.
Jared Allen and Terrell Suggs, two dominant pass rushers, vying for a spot in Canton. Now, when we talk about pass rushers, we're talking about those defensive players who make quarterbacks nervous, who disrupt plays, and who have a knack for getting to the quarterback for those all-important sacks.
Those sacks,
And these two guys, Jared Allen and Terrell Suggs, they were masters of their craft.
Yeah, they were.
You got sleep.
Both feared forces on the field, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Jared Allen, especially in his early years with the Chiefs and Vikings, was an absolute sack machine.
Yeah.
He racked up 136 sacks in his first 10 seasons.
Wow.
To put that in perspective, that puts him on a similar trajectory to Myles Garrett, another incredible pass rusher we see in the league today.
So Allen was known for his quick ascent to those impressive sack numbers.
Yeah, his quick start.
Yeah, what about Suggs? Was he more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of guy?
Well, Suggs definitely had longevity on his side, playing for 17 seasons and amassing a total of 139 sacks.
So he just kept going.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
But he wasn't just about racking up numbers over time. He was consistently disruptive and a real thorn in the side of opposing offenses.
So he was more than just a stat sheet stuffer.
Right.
He had that intangible impact on the game.
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of stories or anecdotes stick out to you when you think about Suggs' career?
Well, I remember hearing a story about Joe Thomas.
Okay.
One of the most respected offensive linemen to ever play the game.
Okay.
He always said that Suggs was the real deal,
a
truly elite pass rusher.
Right.
And when a guy like Joe Thomas, who's tasked with protecting the quarterback, gives you that kind of praise, you know you're doing something right.
So it's not just about the raw numbers.
Right.
It's about earning the respect of your peers, even those you're battling against on the field.
Absolutely.
It's about leaving a mark on the game that goes beyond the stat sheet.
Absolutely.
Both Allen and Suggs did that.
For sure. They both embody that spirit of a dominant pass rusher.
Okay, so we've got these two pass rushing titans.
Yeah.
Both with impressive career numbers.
Right.
Both respected by their peers.
Yep.
How do the Hall of Fame voters even begin to choose between them?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because when the stats are so closely aligned,
Yeah.
You have to start looking at those intangible qualities,
Right.
leadership impact on the game,
Yeah.
those unforgettable moments that transcended the box score.
So it's almost like a tiebreaker situation.
It is.
You look at the stats first,
Yeah.
and then you delve into those more nuanced aspects of their careers
Yeah.
to see who truly stands out.
Exactly. And in the case of Allen and Suggs,
Right.
both have compelling arguments.
Yeah.
Allen with his incredible sack rate and Suggs with his longevity
Right.
and consistent disruption.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in the voters' shoes on this one.
No, it's a tough one.
All right, so you've laid it all out for us.
Okay.
The stats.
Yeah.
The stories.
Right.
The arguments for and against each player.
Yep.
Now, the million-dollar question. What's your prediction
Okay.
for who gets into the Hall of Fame this year?
All right, let's put on my prognosticator hat here.
Okay.
And try to decipher the minds of the Hall of Fame voters.
Right.
Based on what we've discussed.
Yep.
I'd say Antonio Gates is a lock.
Okay.
His impact on the tight end position is undeniable.
Right.
And his stats speak for themselves. He
Yeah.
revolutionized the position.
Yeah.
And that's something that voters will definitely recognize.
I'd have to agree with you there. Gates seems like a shoo-in.
Yeah.
Who else do you see getting that coveted bronze bust in Canton?
Next, I think one of the wide receivers is going to make it.
Okay.
And if I had to choose,
Yeah.
I'd lean towards Steve Smith.
Okay.
His all-around game,
Right.
combined with his longevity and leadership,
Yeah.
gives him a slight edge over Holt and Wayne.
Okay.
Plus, let's be honest,
Yeah.
the guy was electric on the field.
He was.
He brought a level of passion and intensity
Yeah.
that was hard to ignore.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He was definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And those highlight reels are pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
As for the pass rushers,
Okay.
I'm leaning towards Jared Allen.
Okay.
His ability to rack up sacks at such a high rate
Yeah.
is hard to overlook.
Yeah.
While Suggs have the longevity argument,
Right.
Allen's peak performance
Yeah.
might give him the edge in the eyes of the voters.
Could be.
So you're saying Gates, Smith, and Allen
Yep.
are your top picks for the Hall of Fame this year?
They are.
Any other dark horse candidates we should keep an eye on?
Absolutely.
Players who might sneak in and surprise everyone.
Don't count out Marshall Yonda,
Okay.
the guard.
Okay.
He was a dominant force on the offensive line for the Ravens.
Okay.
And his consistency and durability
Right.
might sway some voters.
Interesting. Okay.
And then there's Eric Allen,
Okay.
the cornerback.
Okay.
He was a shutdown corner in his prime,
Uh-huh.
and his 6 Pro Bowl selections and impressive interception numbers could put him in the conversation.
This is why we love the Hall of Fame debate.
Right.
It's always full of surprises and tough choices.
It is.
It's a testament to the depth of talent
Yeah,
that has graced the NFL over the years.
for sure.
And it's a reminder that while stats are important,
Right.
they don't tell the whole story.
They don't.
It's about the impact you had on the game,
Yes,
the legacy you left behind,
for sure.
and the memories you created for fans.
Absolutely.
We talked about Eli Manning and his surprise snub,
Right.
but there were other notable quarterbacks in the mix too.
Yeah.
Guys like Carson Palmer and Phillip Rivers
Right.
had solid careers,
They did.
but it seems their Hall of Fame dreams might have to wait a little longer.
Yeah, the quarterback position is always a tough one
Yeah,
to evaluate for Hall of Fame purposes.
right,
There are so many factors to consider.
right.
Wins, stats, championships, impact on the game. And with so many great quarterbacks in NFL history,
Yeah.
the bar for entry is incredibly high.
And we also can't forget about some of the other contenders
Right.
who didn't quite make the cut this year.
Yeah.
Willie Anderson, the offensive tackle,
Okay.
who anchored some powerful Bengals lines,
Yeah.
and Adam Vinatieri,
Right.
the clutch kicker who holds multiple Super Bowl records.
Yeah, it's a testament to the depth of talent in this class that even players with those kinds of credentials
Yeah.
find themselves on the outside looking in.
It makes you wonder, how does the Hall of Fame decide who's truly worthy?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's almost like trying to solve a complex equation
Right.
with a bunch of variables that don't quite fit together.
It is a tough one.
Stats are important,
Yeah.
but they don't tell the whole story.
Right.
Championships matter,
Yeah.
but they're not the only measure of greatness.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it comes down to the subjective judgment of the Hall of Fame voters. They're looking for players who not only excelled on the field, but who also left an indelible mark on the game.
So it's about the legacy, the impact,
Yeah.
the stories that will be told for generations to come.
Absolutely.
It's about those players who transcended the stat sheet
Yeah.
and became icons of the sport.
Exactly. And while we might debate and disagree about who deserves that ultimate recognition, that's all part of what makes the Hall of Fame so fascinating.
I agree.
It's a celebration of the history of the game and a reminder of the incredible individuals who've shaped it.
Well said. If you want to dive even deeper into the Hall of Fame debate,
Yeah.
we encourage you to check out the full articles we referenced in this deep dive,
Yeah.
you'll find even more insights and analysis
Yes.
that might just change your mind about who deserves that bronze bust in Canton.
And don't forget, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is about more than just individual players.
Right.
It's about preserving the history and legacy of the sport we all love.
Absolutely.
It's about remembering those iconic moments.
Yeah.
Those legendary matchups.
Right.
And those players who made us jump out of our seats
Right.
and yell at the TV screen.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive
Oh, yeah.
into the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep those debates going
Yes.
and appreciate the greatness of the game.
Absolutely.